Dozens of Rohingya refugees, all men, have drifted onto a beach in western Indonesia in a wooden boat with a broken engine, local officials say. They are described as hungry and weak after spending a month at sea. At least 3 men were taken to hospital. It is not clear if they are part of a group of at least 150 Rohingya who became stranded at sea weeks ago. The Rohingya are a persecuted ethnic minority in their original home in Myanmar, Burma. The wooden boat with 57 men on board landed on Sunday morning in Aceh province, local police spokesman Winerdy told AFP news agency. A 100 days after they began, the longest-running anti-government protests in Iran since the 1979 Islamic Revolution have shaken the regime, but at a heavy cost to the people. More than 500 protesters, including 69 children, have been killed, according to the human rights activists' news agency, HRANA. 2 protesters have been executed and at least 26 others face the same fate, after what Amnesty International calls sham trials. Although nationwide demonstrations have swept Iran before, once in 2017 lasting until early 2018, and another in November 2019, the current protests are unique, as they involve people from across society and women are taking a lead role under the slogan, Woman, Life, Freedom. At least one arrest has been made in Lebanon after an Irish soldier died while on a UN peacekeeping mission. Private Sean Rooney was in an armored UN vehicle which came under fire while traveling to Beirut on the 14th of December. Several arrests were made, the influential pan-Arab newspaper Asharq al-Azat reports. According to AFP news agency, quoting an unnamed security source, the prime suspect was handed over by the powerful Hezbollah militant group. The main shooter has been arrested by security forces after Hezbollah handed him over hours ago. Kathy Whitworth, the professional golfer with the most trophies, has died aged 83, America's Ladies Professional Golf Association has said. Her 88 LPGA victories are the most ever on a professional tour, it said. The Texan took 6 more trophies than her rival Mary Catherine Mickey Wright, as well as men's game joint record holders Sam Snead and Tiger Woods. She died suddenly on Saturday night while celebrating Christmas Eve with family and friends, her partner said. Kathy left this world the way she lived her life, loving, laughing and creating memories, said Betty Odell without providing any further details. As 2022 comes to a close, we're bringing back our favorite pieces of the year. See the rest of our Best of Work Life 2022 collection for more great reads. When Laura was invited for a final stage interview at a multinational music corporation based in London, she thought she was on the cusp of landing her dream role. After passing a first-round phone interview and meeting team members in person, all Laura had to do was meet a senior-level executive. It was presented to me as a formality, she says. The interview went well, and I was later told I'd got the job. In many cases, recruitment processes have been digitized. Job search algorithms place the open positions right in front of workers. Easy apply options mean candidates can send off resumes for multiple jobs more effortlessly than ever. Virtual interviews have improved accessibility, increasing opportunities for employers and workers to find the best fit. Before the pandemic, only a fraction of interviews brokered through us would be done virtually, says Craig Friedberg, a regional director at recruitment firm Robert Half, based in London. Now, 99% of our first stage interviews are via Zoom calls. More than 85 meters beneath the famous fairy chimneys of Cappadocia lies a massive subterranean city that was in near constant use for thousands of years. Violent gusts whipped loose soil into the air as I hiked through Cappadocia's Love Valley. Pink and yellow-hued hillsides colored the rolling landscape scarred with deep red canyons, and chimney-stack rock formations loomed in the distance. It was arid, hot, windy and devastatingly beautiful. Millennia ago, this volatile, volcanic environment naturally sculpted the spires surrounding me into their conical, mushroom-capped shapes, which now draw millions of visitors to hike or hot air balloon in the central Turkish region. Margot Robbie and Brad Pitt's outrageous new period epic about the scandalous side of 1920s Tinseltown has been making waves. But what's the truth behind it, asks Christina Newland. It's no great surprise that Babylon, the new unhinged period epic set in 1920s silent-era Hollywood from director Damien Chazelle, seems to be generating mixed reactions from its viewers so far. Those expecting anything like La La Land will find themselves awash in vomit, cocaine, and off-the-wall homages to the sleaziest undersides of old Hollywood history: murder, addiction, suicide, and more. With its spinning overhead shots of frenzied, hedonistic parties, mountains of Class A drugs. As film historian Maria E. Gates tells that Babylon captures the fervor of jazz-age Los Angeles and questions the very nature of history in a place that sells itself as the ultimate fantasy. Chazelle directs his deeply researched script with a wink and knowing grin, exploring how the darkness and the light operate in tandem. One obvious reference point for the film is Hollywood Babylon, the notorious 1959 book by filmmaker Kenneth Anger about the supposed scandals of early Hollywood, whose purple prose about murder via ivory dildos, orgies and the like would infect the minds of a generation even without any real evidence to back up his claims. The accent of the world's longest-serving monarch evolved during her long reign, reflecting enormous social shifts that occurred during that time. Queen Elizabeth II's long reign meant that she saw many changes in the world around her, from rationing and pea soupers to social media and a global pandemic. As Britain's longest-serving monarch, she also became a global symbol of steadfast principles and stability. Yet, after 70 years on the throne, the Queen left behind a unique and precious legacy that did change with the times: her voice, captured by decades of recording. The pandemic put an end to required birthday cupcakes, team happy hours, and forced fun activities. Many workers are deeply relieved. It is a truth universally acknowledged that there's nothing better than a pizza party, except maybe an ice cream social. Field trips are super fun, too. And you can't beat a good extracurricular activity. They're the best, that is, if you're in the third grade. If you're an adult being forced to attend a team-building exercise, Go to a post-work happy hour or celebrate in a conference room with your colleagues lest you be seen as not a team player. They're mostly the worst. The plane banked to the right, hard. As we took a first sweep at the runway, or, rather, the short stretch of bumpy land in the Arctic tundra that would serve as one, an alarm sounded. The lights above the emergency exits flashed red and the sound of the aircraft's engines roaring back into action filled the main cabin. My stomach lurched. It was an exhilarating introduction to the far north of Quebec, in a region known as Nunavik. Comprising the top third of Canadian province, larger than the U.S. state of California and twice the size of Great Britain, fringed by frayed edges of a peninsula known as Ungava, most people don't even know it exists. But that wasn't always the case. Digital travel scams are a growing, systemic and global problem, according to the World Tourism Organization, a branch of the UN. Dozens of Brazilian women have been finding this out the hard way, after paying for luxury holidays from a man whose Instagram account sparkles with opulent hotels and exotic locations. Last December, Maria, not her real name, decided to have a break from the heat of the Australian summer, and to take her family on a skiing holiday to Europe. It was her first trip since the pandemic and she wanted it to be special. So she paid $20,000 to a travel agent, Rafael Bessa, a fellow Brazilian who'd been recommended by a friend, and made the long flight north. Imagine if your face had been digitally edited into a porn video without your consent and then shared on the internet. One woman reveals the horror of it happening to her. Scrolling through her Twitter feed one evening, Kate Isaacs stumbled across a disturbing video among her notifications. This panic just washed over me, Kate says, speaking publicly for the first time about what happened. Someone had taken my face, put it onto a porn video, and made it look like it was me. Government plans for a long-awaited UK-wide online safety bill have been under endless revision and repeatedly shelved. The new laws would give the regulator, Ofcom, the power to take action against any website deemed to be enabling harm to UK users, no matter where they are based in the world. Earlier this month, however, Culture Secretary Michelle Donnellan said she and her team were now working flat out to ensure the bill was delivered. But she had no idea who that person was, or who might have seen the video. And while she could see that her face had been overlaid onto footage of a porn actor, the video was convincing enough that she worried others might not spot the deception.